Good morning, camera world. We're coming to you live again from the Unique Photos Superstore, here for another U Event Live. Today, we're really happy to have 3 of the latest cameras from Sony, just released. When were they released?
Wednesday.
Wednesday of last week. And we're really privileged to have them here in the store. Very exciting products. I know when they came in, our staff just went wild over them. Really excited. With me today is Chief Senior Manager Technical Training Guru, Mike Bubolo.
That's about right.
That's about right. And our Chief Technical Guru, Sony person, Mike Zawadzki. How you guys doing today?
Great. Good. Yeah, not too bad.
So I want to really get right to the cameras. Actually, before I do that, let me just reach out to everybody out there. If you want to communicate with us during the event, you can use the hashtag #UEventLive. That's hashtag #UEventLive, and that's at Unique Photo. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and that's at Unique Photo. You can also tweet and reach at me at @MSweetwood. I'm Matt Sweetwood, president of Unique Photo. I don't know if I said that. Did I say that? I don't think I said that. I should have introduced.
You did now.
I did now. So I'm at @MSweetwood. All right. I'm not going to talk a lot this, guys, because I've got really 2 technical experts here. We're going to go through our cameras today. First, we're going to start with the cheapest camera here, which is our Alpha, right? I couldn't resist, right? Right? It's good. It's a really exciting orange color.
Very durable.
All right. So we have with us today the new RX100 RM4, right?
RX100 Mark IV.
And they use an IV. I see it right here on the camera. So we're going to call it IV, RX100 IV.
All right.
Which one of you guys would like to take on this one and tell us how this is an improvement over 1, 2, and 3?
So the story with all 3 cameras, really, with all these cameras, is that we're really showing off our technical prowess in terms of sensor technology. So both the RX10 and the RX100 Mark IV both use a stacked sensor. So what the heck does a stacked sensor mean? Normally with normal cameras, the sensor doesn't really have its own brain, for lack of a better way to explain it, but it uses the processor in the camera to be able to, for the memory and to be able to do all the thinking. But now a stacked sensor means that the DRAM, so similar to the DRAM that's in a laptop, is actually built into the sensor itself. It's something that we've been using on cell phone sensors to be able to compute things really quickly, but now we actually have it in these cameras. So it's able to work faster, work more productive, and it's on the largest sensor that any stacked sensor's ever been on. So we're able to do things that most cameras can't do.
Wow, that's really exciting, and I assume that helps with the 4K.
Absolutely. Yeah, so both these cameras, they're very similar to what they're not even replacing the cameras, but they're very similar to what the RX10 and what the RX100 Mark III were. But now we're able to do super high frame rates, so HFR video up to 1,000 frames per second, and 4K recording. So it's on a 1-inch sensor. And one of the main reasons why we can do that is because it is a stacked sensor, and we're able to process all that information and be able to have such a large buffer on the sensor itself to be able to process all that information.
Now, the RX100, for me, I really find this to be an exciting camera because it's one of those cameras where you can actually look stylish and have a camera.
It's literally pocketable.
We can put it in our pocket right like that, right? I still look just as good.
Unless you wear your skinny jeans that day
right.
and your jacket.
There's no skinny jeans for me, so that's not happening. You can see it has an articulating screen. Right, really pocketable, really solid construction on this. Very, very fast lens, right? A 1.8.
Yeah, it's a 24-70, 1.8 to 2.8, so it's a fantastic lens, and it's a true T-Star coated, all-glass Carl Zeiss lens.
Mike, I have a question. What's the difference in image quality from the Mark IIIs, or is it just really the video feature?
I mean, it's a new generation of sensor, so you will see a little bit of an improvement on image quality, but it's not going to be like the main selling point for the camera. So you will get slightly better high ISO, you will get slightly better image quality, but overall it's the processing power, the 4K video, the high frame rates, and even our viewfinder is now improved as well.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right.
What improvement was made to the viewfinder?
Right, so this is a pop-up viewfinder too.
It's a pop-up viewfinder, and you pull out the little thing to be able to focus. You have to pull it out, so it's even more impressive. So it's actually the highest magnification of any camera out there, so it's 0.78 magnification, 100% coverage. So how we are able to accomplish that is that all the layers of glass inside the viewfinder are actually T-Star coated. So when we're able to just ink by Carl Zeiss, the Carl Zeiss T-Star coated, the traditional T-Star, and we're able to just make a bigger, brighter viewing experience in the viewfinder.
Right, and this camera is a 20 megapixel camera, 1-inch sensor.
Yep.
Right, so it's a larger sensor than you see in most point and shoots. It has a 24-70 lens on it. It's really, I mean, if you think about the way DSLRs were 4 or 5 years ago, maybe that's not quite long enough, but it's probably about right. This is probably equivalent from from a picture quality, from an actual
actually, people have reviewed it now as image quality that compares to entry-level digital SLRs now.
That's right.
So it's just
right, all in a pocketable package. I know this is this whole series has been a very popular thing, and I was told, and you can confirm this, that actually the the RX100 model 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to stay current.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, so there's going to be 4 cameras in that line.
We'll be able to hit a price point for everybody.
There'll be a price point. And speaking of price point, do we come out at $949? And these cameras are all, I believe, going to be available in July?
No, so the RX series, July, and then the a7R Mark II is going to be available beginning of August.
Ah, maybe for my birthday. That might be really nice. All right, let's sort of move up the line right here. And let's talk about this guy.
The RX10 Mark II. I mean, this is one of the most special cameras, even since when the RX10 first came out. It's one of the most special cameras on the market because it does give you that image quality of an SLR with that 1-inch sensor. They're all backside illuminated sensors, so it's going to give you great high ISO quality even for such a small sensor. But what's unique about it is that the lens is an absolutely fantastic lens. It's a 24 to 200, 2.8 all the way through. So when you have that customer that comes in or someone that comes in that really wants possible image quality, and they don't want to have to buy a big SLR with a 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200 2.8. You can actually get SLR quality with this, with the fixed lens that's 24 to 200 2.8 all the way through. Solid magnesium alloy construction, 4K video like we said, and also the high frame rate similar to what you get on the RX100.
Let's talk about the 4K video. So I heard a little bit of a rumor that there's different modes of 4K. You want to talk about that a little bit?
So there are 8 different modes of 4K on this camera, where right now in the industry I think the most that someone has, I believe, is about 4. But the different modes of 4K video enable you to just get a lot more diversity and a lot more control over your 4K video. One difference between a lot of people ask the difference between the 4K video and the operation between the two cameras. The RX10, since it is larger, we're able to put a larger heatsink. You're able to get a full 30 minutes of 4K video, whereas the RX100 Mark IV can do 5-minute clips of 4K video. That doesn't mean you can't just press record again.
I understand. So that's a really, really important feature. So you can do 30 minutes of 4K.
Full 30 minutes.
And I really think the camera has a really, I mean, it has a great feel. I'm really big on this. I'm, here at a camera store, we see the cameras compared a lot. I know we're doing a Sony video right now, but we do a lot of different, right, Mike?
Yeah.
And you pick up these cameras, and sometimes you wonder a little bit what they're thinking in terms of ergonomics. You really like the ergonomics on this guy.
Well, I do, and just what I want to know about this camera is that these always seem like a good idea for people that want telephoto in a compact package, but a lot of big zoom point and shoots like this aren't good at tracking focus, and that's kind of why people buy them. Tell me why this is going to work, or if it shares any of the same characteristics of the AF in either the 100 or the 7 here.
The RX10 actually focuses extremely faster than actually most digital SLRs, because it is a backside illuminated sensor, so more light is being able to hit the sensor, and since it is contrast based, that means you're going to be able to have very, very fast tracking autofocus. And also the lens elements, it's all piezo magnetic electric driven autofocus in the lens itself, so you're able to move the lens elements and be able to focus extremely smooth, extremely fast, and especially during video you're going to be able to have very, very nice, smooth, continuous autofocus on your subjects.
Great.
And of course, really strong optic stabilization in this camera as well also helps with autofocus as well.
Right. One of the things that you don't get a feel for, obviously, as you're seeing if you've never held one of these cameras, is I find the build quality on these cameras to be really, really stellar. Right. And that's something, when you're spending a lot of money on a product, you get something that has that plasticky feel, or it has torque almost to the body. I mean, these guys really are really well constructed. I really, really like that.
So what you're saying with this, because of the piezo motors that for the smooth focusing and tracking, this camera, this kind of bridge camera is more, I guess, traditionally for photographers, but you're saying this one will be really popular for video as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the RX10, since it first came out, is extremely popular for video, not just because of 4K, not just because of HD, but one thing that makes both these cameras unique is that both sensors during video shooting do full pixel readout. So every single pixel, every single line gets read, and there's no pixel binning. So this way you're able to get very, very high quality, very, very fast, very little shutter lag, rolling shutter during video. So that's why it's been the choice for videographers since the RX10 originally came out.
And there's mic input on that?
So mic input, and also what's unique is that all these cameras, the RX10 and the a7R Mark II have a multi-interface shoe, and with that multi-interface shoe you can attach a XLR microphone input.
perfect.
So it can be as easy a video camera or as
Advanced,
robust
right,
video
sure.
camera that you can possibly get.
Right, and this is what kind of sensor this is again?
It's a 1-inch backside illuminated sensor.
Right, and how many megapixels? 'Cause
20
we
megapixels.
always get that.
Yep, of course.
We always get that question. Great, really, really interesting piece. What's going to be the price point on this guy?
I believe it's going to be about $1,300, and again, shipping in July.
Right, and once again, that's $1,300 for a camera and lens all in one, and a 2.8 lens.
And solid magnesium alloy, so it's the best build quality that you can possibly get.
Right, when you see a build quality like this, you see the Sony name on it, and then you see a price point, which I think is really not, is really not out of the ballpark. I think that's a really, really good start. So we've deliberately sort of talked through the cameras, these other cameras, because we really want to get to the jewel of the discussion today, which is, I know, a camera that you're very excited about, Mike. It's a camera I know you personally use. I know you personally use the A7.
Yeah.
So now we have the A7. Wait, I got to get all my nomenclature right here, right? So it's an A7R Mark II, correct? Did I say that right? Okay.
Yeah, we can just say A7R2.
A7R2.
I like saying.
Right. All right, guys. In 3, 2, 1. We're going to say it. 3, 2, 1. A7R2. No, R2.
I know. I did it on purpose.
I mean, we need to rehearse you a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's get to the camera. Mike, why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Okay. So, wow, this is a really exciting piece because mirrorless cameras in general, and I'm being as fair as I can across all the different brands here. Mirrorless cameras have always been, wow, that's really cool, but there's always been a but, whether it's been continuous focus, image quality on some of the smaller sensor ones, or lens availability. There's always been a but with mirrorless cameras, but I would still use my DSLR for X, Y, or Z. Many different reasons. Build quality. There's just a lot of different reasons people would use that but when talking about mirrorless. This is the first camera, I believe, that closes that gap. It really doesn't exist anymore. When you're talking about overall image quality, you're talking about focus speed using adapters with Canon lenses.
Right. We had it in the Starcade. Just go like this. Right. I'm fighting with this guy.
I think
that's right.
That's something you guys are open to.
That's right.
It's a great feature of it, and I really like that.
I mean, when we had it in here, right? Everybody, went running to the Canon shelf over there, right, and putting a Canon lens and watching it really focus fast on a big Canon lens.
What I like about Sony is that they encourage that, because this is such a versatile camera that it appeals to somebody who wants to use fast autofocus on a mirrorless body, but at the same time it also appeals to the more deliberate shooter who's going to take a Leica Summicron or Summilux lens and put it on there with an adapter and shoots more slow. So it has the ability to appeal to a wide audience here of people that appreciate top quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and this is another camera that ergonomics are just pretty amazing on, right? It feels great. Tell me about the viewfinder in that. How do you like it?
Well, that's another thing too. For years, it's always been, well, I don't like electronic viewfinder. In fact, I remember a few years ago, WPPI was talking to one of the tech guys at Sony, and he was very adamant about how the electronic viewfinder was going to take over, and I said, no way. Optical viewfinder is still the best. It's much more clear, but this is crystal in here. This is really different than anything we've seen before. So maybe Mike, you can tell us a little bit about what makes it so clear like that and with such little lag.
Yeah, I mean, so the advantages to an electronic viewfinder are that exactly what you see is exactly what you're going to get. So as you're shooting, you see your exposure live, you get to see your color live, you can shoot in black and white through the viewfinder, you can shoot video through the viewfinder. So exactly what you see is exactly what you're going to get. So this way you can shoot faster, you can shoot more accurate. But again, there was, like you brought up before, there was a compromise before, where it wasn't as good as some of the big bright viewfinders that we're used to in SLRs. But now with the highest magnification and 100% coverage and crystal clear clarity and a high resolution, we're able to get a much better viewing experience than what you'd get with a traditional optical viewfinder. And to expand on that, I mean, I love the no compromise statement, because the cameras, we used to always have to make a compromise to be able to get that small size.
Sure.
Even with APS-C, when the NEX3 and the NEX5 first came out, it was still a compromise.
Right.
It wasn't, the image quality was great, but the handling, the speed, the autofocus just wasn't as good. So, and then all of a sudden the A6000 came out. All of a sudden in APS-C there's no more compromise.
I think we're gonna see a really big trade-up business in this. I mean, we take trades here at Unique Photo, and I just sense that when this camera comes out in August, there is just going to be. I mean, it's good in the camera store world, obviously, because it creates a lot of motion, you know, and a lot of activity. To me, there's something just really right about that camera. Tell about some more of the upgraded features that you'll find on this from the 1 to the 2 on this.
Absolutely. So again, like moving from that no compromise. So the full frame cameras that we had before, like the a7R, we always had to make a choice. You either have to choose resolution or you have to choose high ISO. You have to choose resolution or you have to choose autofocus speed. So this camera kind of fixes everything. Not that there's something wrong before, but there's a really huge advancement. Is that so now we have 42 megapixel, and it's the world's first and only backside illuminated full frame sensor.
Right. How many megapixels?
42 megapixels.
In a full frame
and we all
sensor.
know the magic number is 42.
Right.
So.
Right.
Very good.
Right. So you're able to get 42 megapixels, but what's more important about that 42 megapixels is that since it is a backside illuminated sensor, we're moving all the electronics from in front of the sensor to behind, so we're getting much more light. And it's also gapless on-chip design, so we're able to shoot at high ISOs up to 102,000 ISO on this camera and still have 42 megapixels. So we're able to get the best image quality.
You mentioned A6000 before changing a lot. I see, even though this is a much higher tiered camera, I see a lot of A6000 in this just in terms of ease of use, focus speed, and just I think the general appeal that the A6000 had to consumer. I think that this is going to have broad appeal to professionals. I think that some of the focusing technology from the A6000 is in here now, right?
Absolutely. So 399 focal plane phase detection autofocusing points makes it the fastest focusing speed of any full frame camera out there. So again, bringing that technology from the APS-C now to full frame, we're able to get fastest autofocus of any full frame camera, plus since it's a focal plane phase detection autofocusing system for those 399 points, we're able to use our LA3 adapter and have all of our A-mount lenses work flawlessly. We're able to use a Metabones adapter and be able to use Canon lenses or third-party lenses and be able to get autofocus speed that rivals speed on their own camera.
Right, and I think that's a really right.
Maybe
right. He's not going to claim that, but I mean I think that's really a key point because one of the issues clearly going back was sort of the amount of lenses that were really ultimately available for the camera, and this camera really opens up ultimately the widest selection of lenses because you have all the other manufacturers' lenses, you have your own lenses, you have the other mount lenses. So to me, that's really what it's about. There's another thing, once again, and I always like to emphasize ergonomics because you can have all these specs that you can talk tech all you want. When you hold the camera, if the camera's not really great feeling, like that camera to me, almost, I don't want to say it's Teutonic. You know, I know that's a different country in a different part of the world, but really the controls are extremely simple. They're right in your thumb, just the basic dials. I even think somebody who's a less experienced user who really wants one of the best cameras that money can buy will buy this because you can obviously operate it on automatic mode. It has scene modes. It has those things that you see on, a medium level, let's say DSLR, but this camera obviously is aimed at professionals. I mean, it has professional quality features. You're talking video mode. Talk a little bit about the video in this, just for a couple of secs.
So video, that's the next phase, let's say. So 4K video internal recording. That's right. So 4K internal. We would like to say it's
you don't need a strap on. You don't need to strap anything on to do 4K.
No need for an external recorder. Don't get me wrong. You can still use an external recorder and you still be able to get very good image quality. But internal, we're going to be able to shoot at full 4K resolution at 100 megabits per second XAVCS. And that being said, not only can it use the full frame, but you can also shoot in Super 35 mode. So you can shoot super sampled Super 35 4K video out of this camera, and it almost eliminates rolling shutter altogether. So you're able to shoot extremely fast, unbelievably high ISO, very good video quality out of the A7R II.
Also, one thing that I've shot with all the A7 series cameras, and I love them. I have an S right now, and probably going to want to get this one eventually. Just
employee discount. Employee discount.
Just because of you get the high ISO in addition to more resolution now. But what really prevented me from using the R more, the original one more first, was that the shutter was pretty loud and clunky, and it didn't have stabilization. And when you have that much resolution, that becomes critical with certain lenses. So tell us a little bit more about, I think is this carbon fiber shutter in here and the optical stabilizer as well?
So there's a few things. things. So the shutter, again, we listen to feedback. Like Sony as a company, all of our cameras, the reason why we can progress so fast is not only because we're one of the most advanced electronic companies in the world, but we listen to our customers. Every single day we're listening to our customers. And trust me, we heard you loud and clear, no pun intended about the shutter. But anyway, so the camera has a much quieter shutter, electronic first curtain shutter, but it also has a completely silent mode, so very similar to what we had in the A7S. So you can shoot inside of a movie studio recording. But also what's really impressive is that the life of the shutter is 500,000 shutter actuations.
Right,
so
that's a good point. We almost didn't get that in there. That's right. That's a really, really good point. And the silent mode is extremely important because there are, I mean, it was really, in my opinion, the biggest weakness in practical use. You know, you can talk, again, all these specs, but when you have a shutter that's loud, you're in a church, you're in a temple, you're in that kind of environment. You know, well, you can't, you basically can't use it. You become actually self-conscious. You know, and this camera almost also, you know, and like you said, no butts on. This is almost a street camera, right? You can walk around in a quiet area. You know, it doesn't have that sort of assuming
it's
quality.
So quiet, it's been shooting this whole time. No,
that's right. It's been right. But
it's really, it really just makes as much noise and silent as it does just sitting there on the table doing nothing. So it's completely silent when you actually put into silent mode.
Right. So. And what about the stabilizer?
Again, sorry, I didn't bring that up before. So 5-axis image stabilization inside the camera itself. So not only does it accommodate for up, down, left, right, accommodates for roll in your hand, and it also accommodates for pitch and yaw.
That works both in video and photo?
Absolutely, yeah. And it also works in conjunction. If you have a lens that's image stabilized, it works in conjunction with that lens. So you can use both at the same time.
That's really amazing.
I don't know how it's able to figure all that out by itself.
Well, it's got a pretty, it's probably got a pretty fast computer in there. And if you've never shot with a camera that has 5-axis stabilization, it really makes all the difference in the world. You get sort of that effect where when you have a camera like that, where you can just sort of like almost go like this, shoot like that, and just flip the camera around and just, you know, it's.
Yeah, I'm able to shoot at shutter speeds as low as a half a second. Still
that's
right. Sharp pictures, which is amazing.
A half a second shutter speed, right? And still, I know you're not guaranteeing results,
of course, no, but
that's right.
This is on silent mode right now, so it's not making any noise when you take pictures. That's pretty incredible.
Right. So in the camera store world, for Sony to do this, I can't emphasize enough how important it is. You know, we're in an industry that's definitely
this year.
Right, and because
there hasn't been anything exciting this year.
Right. Not. There's been a few product releases. I mean, we had you know, one last week which was really was exciting, but. We need this to drive interest in the industry, and you know, with the advent of mobile technologies, the cameras and mobile technologies, we need companies like Sony to really raise the bar. And I'm really feeling it with these, is that you've actually raised the bar and are going to make people interested in buying cameras and photography. And I know, and I think that's showing in the increased sales that Sony has had. You know, you're one of the few vendors where your sales are
that's good.
in an industry where the sales are going down. So anything else you want to add to this? I think we covered any features.
I mean, it's just. I mean, I'm just as much of a tech geek as anybody, as the next person. I'm a photographer myself, and I'm just ecstatic about this camera. I mean, we've always had to make that compromise, and I've always had to carry around 2 different cameras. I mean, they were always, I had the A7S and the A7, the best of both worlds.
Right, exactly.
And we can literally now shoot high resolution and be able to shoot video. We can have S-Log 2. I mean, there's nothing that it can't do. It's like we make that list of things that it doesn't have, and it's almost non-existent.
One last thing is, Matt, you touched on mobile technology being prevalent and stuff. I know the Sonys have always been a little bit forward-thinking with mobile app integration into the cameras and also play memories on mobile device. Are there any changes of that, any new apps coming out, or any planned upgrades for play memories?
So since it is 42 megapixels, so the camera does have Wi-Fi, which means it has apps. So on the camera itself, you have apps like time-lapse video. But one thing that we added was a plug-in for that time-lapse video. So while you're doing time-lapse video, it's not just doing the time-lapse video. It's actually doing a time-lapse video and then panning like you're on a motorhead. So this way, you can use a high resolution and be able to crop in, because when you crop into the sensor, even at Super 35, you're still at super high resolution, much more than 2 megapixels, which is HD video, or 4K. Awesome. So this way, you're able to get that really nice, smooth, motorized rig look with just the simple use of an app.
Right, and I want to emphasize, I mean, all of these cameras are connected. I mean, you can connect through the app and upload images, particularly for a guy like this. We almost forget. Well, that's a good thing. If we're forgetting about that now, that means we assume that it's going to be in a camera. And I know I personally wouldn't carry a camera around with me. I'm very big on social media. If you guys go out and follow me, you'll see that. And I won't carry a camera with me that I can't upload the pictures right away. I mean, I'm doing that. I'm doing that kind of thing all the time. This camera is going to be how much money?
How much? $31.99.
Right, that's body. That's for the body.
Body only.
Body only, and this is going to be available in August. These two available in July. Thank you guys. It was really great.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
great.
okay, great,
We got
great. Go
questions?
ahead.
I'm sure we did.
So, first one is, when shooting video on the a7R II, will the camera trim the size of the video clips as you shoot?
It will shoot in 16:9 only. It won't shoot in 3:2 aspect ratio.
Could everybody hear that question, by the way, or should I repeat
Yeah,
it?
should we repeat it? Sorry.
Right. Okay. You repeat. So in video mode, the A7R, is it going to clip the videos? Right. Clip the file size.
No, so when shooting 4K video or HD video, it's going to use the full width of the sensor, 16:9. It will crop a little bit just because for stabilization purposes, but if you turn stabilization off, it'll do the full width of the sensor, but only crop down to 16:9. No need to crop inside the sensor because we're...
Is there a max file size on that?
The question was, is there a max file size?
So the max file size on this camera is, it's not really a file size issue, it's just limited to 30 minutes of video. Well, 29 minutes, 59 seconds. We can't actually say 30 minutes. But.
Also, I've got, I noticed that the Sony a7R II has a minimum shutter speed parameter for auto ISO. Does the RX100 and RX10, will that feature be added to the a7 II via firmware?
So one of the question is the new camera, the a7R II has a minimum shutter speed in auto ISO, which is a great feature because this way you can set your ISO to choose automatically, and you can choose your ISO range. So let's say you only want to shoot from, let's say, 1600 to 6400, but sometimes it would automatically make your shutter speed too low. But now you can actually set your minimum shutter speed, which is
right. It's really
Yeah.
actually it's a very logical thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just programming. You sometimes wonder
Yeah.
why that kind of thing isn't in.
And the question was, is it on the RX series? And even though I went through that whole spiel, I don't know if it's on the RX100 series. I'll have to find out, and I'll let you guys know.
Okay, so we'll post. So if you go to our Unique Photo social media later, either our Twitter or Facebook, we will actually post the answer to that question. Right? You mean you don't know everything? We only brought you here
I
because
might
you're
know
supposed
when
to.
the camera's off, but I don't know right now. But we can look it up.
Good deal. Any other questions for us?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is on the RX10.
There you go. See? All you have to do is just pick it up.
That's right.
ISO auto
Minimum shutter speed. Right. So it is. The answer to the question is on the
Check on this one too,
right.
real quick.
I'm sure they have the same.
Yeah, same menu. and everything.
Same menu. So we're gonna. So while he's doing that, we're gonna answer your questions. I want to thank you all for watching us on our event live. It is so. So the answer to the question is that it is on both. Great.
Yeah.
So, but. That's right. So, okay. So, but definitely go out. We're going to have some more discussion on our social media at Unique Photo. Follow me at Sweetwood. We're another event live. I'm sure we'll have coming up soon. Please look for it. Big event coming up in the store. I should let you all know about. We have our Unique Photo Expo on June 26th, 27th, and 28th. Our store turns into one of the biggest trade shows in the Northeast. We run our university all weekend.
Look,
and we're going to have these here.
And I'll be here.
That's right.
Oh, you guys will be here.
That's right. So Mike
here.
is going to be here. If you want to ask him questions, you want to see these cameras in person, that's at our Unique Photo Expo here at the Unique Photo Superstore in Fairfield, New Jersey. We will broadcast live, obviously, at times from that event. Thank you again, guys, and thank you all out there for listening to us.
Have a good one. Thanks.